Fever. Another word for fever is pyrexia. It's part of the immune response and is induced by cytokines, among other things. Pyrogens, which are toxins released from bacteria, and also the breakdown products of some bacteria, are also ways to induce a fever. Pyrexia is the resetting of the hypothalamic thermoregulatory center. The hypothalamus is responsible for setting what is the normal body temperature. And in illness, when we have a fever, the hypothalamus is telling the body to be a higher temperature. Now, other factors increase body temperature, and they have little to do with whether the person's sick or not. That's vasoconstriction, shivering, piloerection, which is another word for goose flesh, and a generalized increase in metabolism. All of those things will increase the body temperature, and it doesn't have to do with the hypothalamus or being sick. The purpose of the fever is to increase the immune function. And also, a fever will inhibit the growth of some pathogens. What is the definition of a fever? Well, a fever, for most people, is a temperature above 37.5 degrees centigrade or 99.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we talked about the hypothalamus. Here's a picture here. Body temperature is regulated by the hypothalamus. In the presence of an infection, the thermoregulation center in the hypothalamus is triggered to increase its set point. Why? Well, most pathogens do best in the body that is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. By increasing the body's temperature, an inhospitable environment is created. It's too hot for the pathogens to do their job and survive, so they don't function as well, and they might even die off in a higher temperature. A person might feel miserable, but they can survive a fever. A pathogen, however, is weakened. But keep in mind, brain damage can occur if the fever is greater than 42 degrees centigrade, and that's 107.6 degrees Fahrenheit. There are 4 stages to fevers. Now, not everybody goes through every stage with every disease they get. Some of it is dependent on the individual, some of it is dependent on the pathogen. The first stage is the prodromal phase. That's just a non-specific, just not feeling good. Might have a mild headache, have some fatigue, some malaise, fleeting aches and pains, but nothing really serious, just generally not feeling good. As the temperature starts to rise, there is vasoconstriction and piloerection going on. That's the person looks pale and they have the goosebumps or the goose flesh. As the temperature reaches the new set point, vasodilation occurs and you get that flushing that goes on in the skin. And lastly, you get defervescence, which is the sweating. That's the fever has broken.